Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking through a couple player props I like on Prizepicks for tonight's NBA slate on Wednesday, March the 15th. Now we have another mid-sized slate tonight. We got 7 games, so plenty of props to choose from on a slate like this. Do have 2 fantasy score props I do want to share with you guys for today. Recording this video around 12:30 Eastern time, so most of the board has been posted for today, but there are some teams on back-to-backs, so we don't have a ton of props up yet for some teams, but I did find 2 fantasy score props I did like for today, guys. So we're going to talk through these 2 props. We're going to share why I like them. Before we get started, though, talking through the plays, as always, if you guys do enjoy these Prizepicks videos, if they help you out, make sure you hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to the channel, never checked out Prizepicks before, you can sign up for Prizepicks. You can use my promo code Noah. If you look at the bottom of the screen, when you sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code, you'll get your first deposit matched up to $100. Definitely check them out if you guys have not yet. And as always, if you do want to tell the picks I give out in this video, you can do so. Now, before we do talk through our plays for today, I want to recap our 2 plays from yesterday. So yesterday was another tough day, man. I really thought we were going to get a win yesterday. We took the over on Nick Claxton's fantasy score, took that at 33.5. Both the props we took yesterday did get bumped a point, but we took Claxton's over fantasy score at 33.5, and I pulled up the StatMuse game log, so take a look at this. If you guys watched the game yesterday, if you looked at the box score, Nick Claxton played 39 minutes yesterday. That's like the most minutes he's played in a while. Take a look at his box score this season when he's played at least 35 minutes. You can take a look here. This is the minutes played right here, and then this is the fantasy score. So he's had at least 33.5 fantasy points in every single game this season where he's played at least 35 minutes, except for last night. Last night, 39 minutes and 30.4 fantasy points. Just like, what are the odds, man? Claxton's been He's been a 1.2 fantasy point per minute player throughout his career, plays 39 minutes and averages well short of a fantasy point per minute. And one of the best possible matchups, too. Like, if it was a matchup against Cleveland or something, or Miami, one of those teams, if he would have put up 30 fantasy points in 39 minutes against Cleveland or Miami, I wouldn't have been mad. But the fact that he put up 30 fantasy points in 39 minutes against OKC, like one of the best matchups for centers, is super frustrating. The minutes were there. 100% would have bet that prop again if I knew Claxton was going to play that many minutes. I thought he was going to only play like 30, 32 minutes, but he wanted to play in 39 minutes and still came up short of his fantasy score, which was super annoying. And of course, RJ Barrett goes over his fantasy score in the late night game, but Claxton missed, so it didn't really matter. We didn't cash our 2 pick anyway, but that was frustrating, man. Really, really felt good about that Claxton prop. The minutes were great, 39 minutes, and he still came up short of his fantasy score. I don't know what's going on right now. I literally feel like I'm cursed. It doesn't matter who I pick, whether I take an over or an under on a player. It's just not going to go well. But I'm trying to have a positive mindset, man. Just trying to do the research every day. Feel like all the plays I give out, I have good research behind. Have good analysis behind. But man, lately it's just like, can I catch a break, please? Like, come on, man. But we got 2 picks to talk about for today, guys. So let's talk through them. 2 fantasy score props. And the first one that I want to talk about for today is Tyus Jones. His fantasy score line, it sits at 30.5 on Prizepicks. This is a pretty low line. I think this is one of the lowest lines we've seen on Tyus Jones since John Morant has been out. And it's largely due to the matchup against Miami. We've kind of seen it lately. Whenever teams face Miami, their props are going to be lower than normal. Just because Miami's a fairly good defensive team. Miami plays at a really slow pace. But I do want to mention, like, over their last 10 games, Miami's defense has not been, like, excellent. I mean, on the season, in terms of defensive rating, Miami does have the 6th best defensive rating in the league for the season. But if you look over their last 10 games, Miami actually ranks 20th in defensive rating. So they're bottom 10 in defensive rating over their last 10 games. I think the matchup is, like, not as bad as people think. The pace that Miami plays at sucks. Like, Miami plays so slow. It's really hard for them to, like, it's really hard to play Miami and like have a super high scoring game just because Miami really loves to play at a slow pace. But I think the matchup is not as bad as people think. And that's why I like this over on Tyus Jones. I feel like we're getting a lower projection than what we normally would get on him. Normally his fantasy score line in any other spot is going to be like 33.5 or 34.5. And just because they're facing the Heat today, it's at 30.5. So give me the over on Tyus Jones' fantasy score. We've seen him go over this line in 3 out of his last 5 games. Do want to mention some of these games were blowouts, but they weren't crazy enough blowouts to where it really mattered. Like, I think Tyus Jones last game still played like 33 minutes. So it really didn't even matter. He wasn't going to go over his fantasy score anyway. but he's played 14 games this season total without Ja Morant, and he is over this fantasy score line in 11 out of 14 games. There's only been 3 games without Ja this season where Tyus Jones has not gotten 30.5 fantasy score. He had 20.5 against Dallas. We saw that game recently. He had just 24.1 against the Lakers. Really surprising to see him not do better in that matchup. But he only had 3 rebounds, 3 assists. That's one of the reasons, like, some of his games lately where his fantasy score lines have been so poor is because he's just really not getting a ton of assists, but his assist numbers are usually pretty good. Like in the game against Dallas where he had 33 fantasy score, he had 10 assists in that game. Against Golden State, he had 11 assists. He only had 3 assists against the Lakers. He only had 3 assists last game against Dallas. And then there was another game this season against Brooklyn where Ja Morant was out. Tyus Jones had 24.6 fantasy points in that game, played 34 minutes. But every other game, 11 out of 14 games this season without Ja Morant, Tyus Jones is over this fantasy score line. You take a look at Tyus Jones' per minute production this season, he's been a good per minute producer, and he has shown that when he gets opportunity, he can put up good numbers. And he's averaged just over a fantasy point per minute this season with Ja off the floor. He should play 30-plus minutes here, barring a random blowout or foul trouble. He usually never really gets in foul trouble. Hopefully, we don't have to worry about that. But if this game is competitive, we should get 33, 34, 35 minutes from Tyus Jones. He's averaged over a fantasy point per minute this season without Ja. I know the matchup against Miami might not be the best, but like I said, Miami's defense lately, it's not been excellent. I mean, they're bottom 10 in defensive rating over their last 10 games. So give me the over on 30.5 fantasy score for Tyus Jones as our first play for today. And then the other fantasy score prop that I do like for today, we're going to go to the Lakers, and the Lakers are going to be shorthanded tonight. They're on the second night of a back-to-back. They're playing the Rockets, so it's a really good matchup. But they obviously don't have LeBron right now, and Anthony Davis is not playing tonight either. So no LeBron, no Anthony Davis. We're going to see a lot of opportunity for guys like D'Angelo Russell, for Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley specifically in this matchup I like a lot, and I like his fantasy score line of 25.5. I think this line is also a little bit too low. Now, we have seen this situation play out before the season. There was a game on March the 1st against the Thunder where the Lakers did not have LeBron or Anthony Davis, and this was post-trade deadline. Do want to mention that in that game, that was a game that D'Angelo Russell was hurt in, so Dennis Schroeder actually started at point guard in that game. But if you look at that game, Malik Beasley, he played 27 minutes. He only had 21.2 fantasy points, so he did come up short of his fantasy score line in that game. But take a look at like his shot attempts and how he shot that game. He shot 4 for 15 and 3 for 12 from 3. It was a very, very poor shooting game. He had 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists while shooting 26% from the field and 25% from 3. Almost went over his fantasy score line, even with a very poor shooting game. Now he gets to face the Rockets, one of the best possible matchups for guards in general. If you look at where the Rockets rank in terms of like fantasy points allowed to point guards and to shooting guards, they're giving up the 5th most fantasy points per game to shooting guards this season. And another thing that I love about this matchup is that the Rockets give up a lot of three-point attempts, and that's where Malik Beasley is going to do a lot of his damage. We mentioned in that game against OKC, he took 15 shots that game, and 12 of them came from 3. I could take a look at his game log last night. I know last night against the Pelicans, he had a really good game. He played 31 minutes, had 35.9 fantasy points. He shot 8 for 16 from the field in that game and 7 for 12 from 3. His efficiency, since he joined the Lakers, has kind of been like, he's kind of been inefficient. He'll have some good shooting games, and then he'll have some really poor shooting games. The fact that he had a really good shooting game last night makes me somewhat, gives me a positive mindset heading into tonight that hopefully, him shooting the ball well last night can carry over onto tonight. But what I said about this matchup with the Rockets give up a lot of three-point attempts. That's where Malik Beasley is going to do a lot of his damage, is from behind the three-point line. You take a look at three-pointers made per game this season, the Rockets are giving up 14.7 threes made per game, which is the most in the league. They're giving up 39.2 three-pointers attempted per game, so just over 39 threes per game attempted, which is the most in the league. They're allowing teams to shoot 37.5% from 3, which is third most in the league. So the Rockets just been giving up a lot of threes this season, which sets up very well for a guy like Malik Beasley, who again is going to do a lot of his scoring from behind the arc. And if you take a look at his numbers this season without LeBron and without Anthony Davis since he joined the Lakers, you take both those guys off the floor, Beasley leads the team in usage, 28.6% usage rate. He's averaged over a fantasy point per minute. It is worth noting that D'Angelo Russell has only played 17 minutes without LeBron and without AD. So I'm sure as we get more of a sample size of Russell playing without those two guys, his usage rate is going to be high as well. But I think we can expect plenty of usage from Malik Beasley. He's a guy that can score when he's on the floor. He's a guy that they can kind of run the offense through. And I do expect a lot of opportunity for both Russell and Beasley tonight. And this fantasy score line for Beasley, I definitely think is too low. I'm expecting him to play over 30 minutes. He should average close to a fantasy point per minute. It's a great matchup against a team that gives up a lot of three-point attempts, and that sets up right into Malik Beasley's wheelhouse. I mean, he loves to shoot threes, and that's where he's going to do a lot of his scoring. So these are 2 picks I do like for this slate, guys, for this Wednesday slate. Tyus Jones over 30.5 fantasy score, and Malik Beasley over 25.5 fantasy score. We haven't been on a great of a run lately with Prizepicks. I'll be honest, our Prizepicks plays have not been doing that well, but I really feel like every day, I feel like I'm making the right reads. Last night was super unfortunate with Claxton playing almost 40 minutes and not even getting 33.5 fantasy score. First time that's happened all season. Hopefully these 2 guys, though, play their normal minutes. We don't get like any fluky stuff, no blowouts, no foul trouble, none of that. I do feel pretty good about these plays, assuming these games are competitive and these guys play their normal minutes. So this is what I'm liking kind of at first look right now, guys. I'm recording this video again around 12:30 Eastern time on Wednesday. As always, I will be sharing some more plays for today over on Patreon. So if you guys enjoy these YouTube videos, you want more Prizepicks plays from me, every Prizepicks play I do provide on Patreon, I do give a full write-up for. Also, I do provide my favorite 2 plays of the day on Patreon. Sometimes it'll be the 2 plays I give out in this video. Sometimes there will be other plays I find that I like, and I'll share those over on Patreon. So a lot of stuff goes up over there every day. Check that out. Linked down below in the description if you are interested. But again, wish you guys the best of luck tonight. Hopefully we can all win some money tonight. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you're new to Prizepicks, go check out Prizepicks. Sign up with my promo code NOAH. Use my promo code. When you sign up, you'll get your first deposit matched up to $100. But good luck tonight, guys. Thanks for watching the video. As always, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.